Hey folks, welcome back to Prepping with Sarge. Today we're going to talk all about basil. Let's start with some comments down below. I want to know what's your favorite way to use basil. I will tell you my favorite way at the end. Stay with me now. All right, so let's talk about the basil here today. So I want to show you a couple things real quick. So let me zoom in here. I want to show you this little flower here. All right. And this camera really gives some nice definition. I hope you guys are seeing this as clear as I am right now. I got a new iPhone 11 Pro and I am loving the resolution on this. So see this here? That, I shouldn't have let that happen. When you see flowers, if you're harvesting your basil to eat or to store, you don't want to let it get to flowers. So when you see that start to develop, what you want to do is just kind of come in and pinch it off, right? So I'll kind of show you what I mean by that. So you just kind of zoom in here real close. Get down to the bottom of the flowers and you're going to pinch your fingernails together, right? And just pinch that off. And the reason, oh, that smells awesome. You won't believe the smell that I just got off by doing that. The reason that you want to do this, folks, oh, there's a little ant on there, see that? All right. The reason you want to pinch those flowers off is because it actually changes the flavor of your plant a little bit. It'll make it a little bit bitter. So just when you see that, that's one of the things I want you to do is if you're trying to harvest it, pinch off the flowers as they're developing. All right, so that's thing one. Thing two, so let me back out here a second. So thing two, you can see here I've got two very nice looking basil plants. My experience here in the south is that my basil doesn't generally live through the winter. I've never had that happen, and last winter was a pretty mild winter. So you're gonna get what you get during the summer. Maybe if you're a little further south, you can, I don't know. If you've had that experience, please go ahead and comment down below. But we're gonna pull some of this today. And if you watch some of my other herb videos, what I do recommend is that you never pull more than a third of the plant at a time, okay? I'm gonna show you how to do that. The reason I recommend that rule of never more than a third is because it's harder for the plant to recover, right? Now, if you're getting near the end of the harvest, if you're getting near the end of the season and you think you're not gonna get too many more harvests, you can make that decision for yourself. Like I said, I've never had mine live through the winter. But let's show you what I mean. So I wanna see these yellowish ones down here, right? I'm gonna zoom in a little again. Okay, see that there? Don't even bother in my experience, right? You can throw that in the compost pile. We're gonna pull from the top. We're gonna pull like these nice leaves up here, right? And I'm gonna show you how to cut it. Stay with me here. Okay. So what I hope you can see on this is, pull this in a little bit. All right, can you see that in there? See that stem where my scissors are at? Okay. Can you see that? Right, I'm cutting right above this leaf right here. Cutting right above that. Okay, that's how you want to do your harvesting on this. Just above where it branches again. I'll show you another example here. See if I can get it a little bit closer for you. Okay, so I'm gonna try to get this right in this. I'm gonna try to get this close to the center of the frame for you, just so you can see what I mean. All right, so see that stem there? Hang on one second, we're gonna get that nice and clear for you. Okay, see where the branches are down there? See right there where there's new leaves coming off? That's where we're gonna clip. And you can do a diagonal cut if you want. That's gonna be a little bit easier for the plant to heal. That's the idea here. So I'm gonna take a third of the plants today, we're gonna bring it inside and we're gonna do some nice dehydration. While I'm out here, just real quick. So in terms of care for these, you just kind of watch them. If they look like they're drying out, give them a little bit more water. They're pretty low maintenance. I don't tend to have a lot of bugs and pests with these. I don't tend to have, plant diseases with them. Basil's pretty easy. You're just gonna have to watch, the hydration levels for it. Once or twice a year in the spring, I give it a little bit of fertilizer down at the base. I do like the granulated organic down at the base. Oh, look at that, we got a little mushroom growing. Let me see if I can get him on the camera there. See it? We'll just leave that be. I use mushroom compost, so stuff like that will pop up. But that's it. And then while I'm out here, I'm gonna pull off some of these yellow leaves here that I was showing you. Right, just get those off because they're just taking away nutrients from the plant and it's not really healthy. It's usually the stuff on the bottom that's starting to die off like that. So I'll show you some other examples here. All right, so see that's basil leaves that have died right there. All right, just pick them off. It's not a big deal. That's just a basic care and maintenance of your plants, all right? And you can compost that or you can just, you know, honestly, just let it drop to the ground. There's a name for that in permaculture. I can't remember. Cut and drop or whatever. It'll come back to me probably after the video's done. All right, let me pause it here. We'll go back inside. Folks, look at that beautiful basil. I wish we had smell-o-vision here on YouTube. This is unbelievably fragrant. So what we're gonna do next, this is the harvest that I just pulled out. What we're gonna do next is I'm gonna rinse this under the faucet for a few minutes just to get off if there's any ants or anything like that, or any dirt that's gathered on there. Just give it a quick rinse. Then I'm gonna pat it down with some towels, and then stay with me. I'm gonna show you exactly how I do my dehydrating. All right, folks, so I'm gonna show you exactly how I do this here. This is my one of my Nesco Dehydrator trays, and I will show you the Nesco Dehydrator, and I will also give you a link to that on Amazon in the description. But before we go this route, this is how I do 90% of my dehydrating. I will show you another method that I also use, which doesn't involve a Nesco Dehydrator. And I wanna refer you to my friend Morgan from Rogue Preparedness. Has a video out there about a solar dehydrator that she and her husband built, okay? So I told her when she did her video, I asked for permission, can I link to her? I want you guys to check that out. It's a really cool project. And if you're somehow not subscribed to Morgan from Rogue Preparedness, you really need to. Her channel's awesome, and actually she's one of the people that inspires me on a lot of my projects and a lot of my videos, and kind of consider her like an unofficial mentor for YouTube. So all right, so I'll put that link down below in the description. You can check that out, go over and check out her video. Let's show you what I do here. So this is like 90% of the time when I'm doing my dehydrating. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a bunch like this, and I'm actually going to pull the leaves off of the stem, okay? And then it just goes onto the tray. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spread these out, give them a little bit of space in between, okay? You don't want them bunched on top of each other. That's just gonna prolong the process and how long it takes to dehydrate. So that's it. And the reason I'm pulling them off the stem now, you can do it afterwards. It's just that stem takes a very long time to dry in the dehydrator. This is gonna make it go a lot quicker, save you a little bit of electricity, all right? I'm gonna pause you here and show you another method. Okay, and so another method that you can do if you don't want to go out and buy a dehydrator is take a couple paper towels, and you're just gonna layer them out on the paper towels, just like so, right? Same thing, I'm just pulling off these stems, right? And when you have enough of these, right, when you've filled up paper towel, giving a little bit of space in between each one, then all you're gonna do, right? So let me put this into the camera a little bit better for you. All you're gonna do to finish that out is when you've got, you know, that filled up as much as you want, you're gonna cover it, right? Just like that. And these are still a little damp. You're gonna cover it just like that, come back in a couple days, or actually come back in 24 hours, flip this over, right? And like let a little bit of air in there, and then do that for a couple days in a row until it gets nice and crispy to the touch. I'll show you what that looks like in a couple days after it's all dehydrated. Okay, so now after you've spaced out how you want that first tray to go, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna put another tray down. So what I can do here is I can just go ahead and put the next tray down, okay? And we start filling that one up, and you stack them up. And that's how the Nesco Dehydrator works. That's one of the reasons I really like this one. Now there is another method as well, which I didn't talk about. You can dry your herbs in a oven at a very low temperature too. That's kind of good to know if you want that option. I don't use that. Like I said, I invested in the dehydrator. For me, it was good. If you're gonna do gardening a lot, this is a good way to go, because you're gonna end up doing so much dehydrating to preserve it and save it for, so that you've got spices all year long and you can give them as gifts to your friends. Let me show you one more thing here though. So I started a new tray. Now, see all this down here? These are all really, really small pieces that would actually fall through the cracks on that when the dehydrator starts. So what you wanna do is get yourself one of these, okay? And this is all, when you go to that link that I'm gonna give you on Amazon, there's accessories, okay? So this is called like a spice tray, I believe. And so you should be able to see that there too. I'll try to put a link for that as well. And that's all you're gonna do for these small pieces, right? So they cannot go through the cracks there when this thing starts blowing. Easy peasy. All right, you starting to get the idea? Now, I ended up with 4 trays. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that top one there you can see is the small cuttings. So what I'm going to do here, just so again, so it doesn't blow around inside the dehydrator, so I'm going to take another one of these spice trays and just put that on top, and then I'm going to go ahead and put this whole thing together. Okay, and there you go. That's the Nesco Dehydrator fully put together. It's actually running right now. I've got mine set at about 120 degrees. So real quick, when you buy a dehydrator, whether you buy this one or another model, what you're gonna find is that it will come with some directions and guidelines on, how long you should put this particular vegetable or this particular spice in here, at what temperature, and how long you should cook, how long you should dehydrate it for. But what I'm going to tell you is, it's just a guideline. Really, you're going to have to take into consideration your elevation and the humidity of your area. So I find that for me personally, I start at a very low heat and it takes longer, but it just seems to work better for me. And what I'm doing is I'm looking for it to get to a certain level of crispness. And I'm going to show you this when it's all done. I'll show you this. Basically, when I snap it, it should be like very, very crisp and crumble to the touch. Okay, that's what I'm looking for my spices. Again, this makes a fabulous gift. I actually gave a lot of this out I gave jars of homegrown spices to my family at Christmas time. And here we are, it's the summertime, and I'm already getting requests from those family members. Hey, can I get those again this year at Christmas time? So really nice thing to do. Nothing beats homegrown herbs. It's gonna taste so much better than the stuff you get at the grocery store. All right, and then after about 24 hours, you check it, see what you got. It should get nice and dry. I'll try to show you here on the camera as best as I can in glorious Technicolor. So can you hear that? And then see if I can show you how crisp it is. So watch this. See that? That's what you want. You want it to be that dry. So when you crush it, it makes that crackly crumble sound. It should break apart like a really dry fall leaf in the autumn, if you want to think of it that way. You want to, I recommend you store it in glass jars. That will just help it to keep a longer shelf life. Put it in away from the sunlight if you can, into a dry spice cabinet or something like that. And then of course you want to label it Basil 2020. This will probably, like this jar here, will probably get me through from my basil all the way to next spring when I start getting fresh basil again. So that's the idea, is you just keep that rotation going. If I take any more harvests after this and dehydrate them, I can start to put it in jars and give it to people for Christmas gifts or birthday gifts, things like that. Let's do a quick refresher. So your basil can be planted in the early spring or fall when the temperature has gotten cool enough. In fact, if you need to order seeds right now, I have a link in my description below to superseeds.com, which is a seed company that I work with a lot. I highly recommend, and there's a coupon code down below, so check that out in the description. You can plant it in the fall or the spring. I have never had luck with having it survive through the winter. You could try experimenting indoors and see if you can get that to work, like in a nice sunny window indoors. I have a destructive cat who likes to eat plants, so that right now that's off the table for me. You should be able to take multiple harvests as long as you're taking a third or less of the plant at a time. You can run it through a dehydrator for long-term storage. A little bit of fertilizer, maybe a couple times a year, and you can use that organic, granulated, slow release fertilizer. I like to use that. I'll try to give you a link to that down below from Amazon, the one that I like to use. You can use a little bit of Miracle-Gro if you prefer that. Watch the hydration levels of it. So if it's getting too dried out, you need to add more water. If it's starting to get too many yellow leaves, you might need to cut back on the water if you can. Of course, if it's raining a lot, then it might be hard to manage that. That's about it. It's pretty low maintenance. I don't really find that I need to use anything to kill pests or anything like that. It's a very easy plant to work with, and very, very healthy for you, very medicinal. There's some evidence that maybe there's antibacterial, antiviral properties with basil and oregano too. You should always grow oregano too with it. And good in your salads, good in your pizza, your sauces, especially like if you like to make spaghetti sauces, things like that. I promised you something, didn't I? So I told you I would give you my favorite recipe and my favorite way to use basil. What I actually like to do is take a fresh tomato from the garden, cut it into slices like this, put a little bit of shredded mozzarella on top, and a little bit of olive oil, and then some cracked pepper and some cracked Himalayan salt, and then put the basil, fresh basil leaves right on top of it. This is amazing. It's actually one of my favorite summertime snacks. I hope you enjoy it. All right, that's gonna about do it for today. I would like to know, remember, comment down below. Tell me what's your favorite way to use basil. If you haven't already done so, please drop a like. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I release videos at least twice a week. Keep planting your seeds, keep stacking your silver. This is Prepping with Sarge.